What's up, guys? I apologize for the noise. Somebody's doing some logging in the woods. I wanted to do a quick video on this sword. I got this sword about 10 years ago. I paid $20 for it, secondhand. Ooh, got the sun dances down that. That's pretty neat. If you are familiar with Skullgrim's channel, he does really good sword reviews that I enjoy a lot. And this sword had the honor of being in his worst swords he's ever used video. And that's understandable because, you know, he's used to $500, $1,000, you know, handcrafted, forged swords. This was $40 brand new from a Bud K catalog. But it's the only sword I've ever had. The reason I like it is because it's functional. Full tang. Blade goes all the way down through the handle. So you can chop all day long with it and it won't break. Oh, that chainsaw is so annoying. So this hilt, or the guard I mean, was loose when I got it and bent. I guess the kid I bought it from said he was throwing it at trees to stick it in, and that's how that got that way. Also, there's a little chunk missing out of the handle here, but you don't really feel that when you're gripping it. It doesn't really affect the use too much, so I recently polished it up, which I'd never done before. It was all, if I could focus this, it was all grimy and covered in corrosion and stuff, and the brass really polished up nicely. Need to get a better camera. Can't really see, but there's all sorts of, let me see if I can get this a little bit better. There we go. See, there's all sorts of nicks out of the edge of the blade, just because it's a well-used sword. It's not super sharp. I want it to be sharper, but it does have an edge on it. Can't really see from the camera, but there's a few pretty good size. There you go, chips out of the blade. It reminds me of that the Bleach episode with the 10th captain, who loves fighting so much, and his sword is just all chipped to hell. But it doesn't really, I mean, as long as you sharpen it, those little chips don't really make a difference. They sort of just become serrations, and it still cuts just fine. Anyway, like, I don't know about you guys, but my first experience with swords was those cheap ones from malls, where the hilt, I mean the tang only goes down in about an inch, inch and a half, and if you try to actually use it and chop some stuff, then it just breaks right out of the handle, and you're left with just a blade with no handle, basically. So, the only negative things to me, personally, about this sword are it doesn't have the distal taper, so it's the same thickness all the way down. Nice swords get thinner and thinner towards the tip because, you know, the end of it doesn't need to be as strong because it's not supporting as much. And also, when it tapers down to the point, width-wise, it also balances in your hand better. It's easier to flip around, you know, because the center of gravity is closer to your hand. I really like the size of this handle because you can get two hands on it and really generate some power. So I figure we'll go up into the woods here, and I need to get a tripod badly, but I'm going to figure out some place to set up the camera, and we'll just chop a couple things. So this is the entrance to a trail, and these branches have grown down over the entrance. I'm just going to chop them up a bit. Balancing this camera extremely precariously here on a tree branch. was a good cut. That was a good cut. There. All right. I know some of those are painful to watch. I never claimed to be good at it, and I know the sword's not very sharp. Just barely has an edge on it. It's a fat blade, so you know, I've got plenty of excuses. One of those cuts was really good. Oh, here it is. That's like, some of the branches broke, but this one actually, if it would focus, this one actually sliced through very nicely. That's a pretty decent slice on that one. So yeah, it's fun. I've got an angle grinder that I'm going to use to actually get a good edge on this at some point, but I need to get a flappy sanding disc for it to do that, because I just have the grinding wheel, and that would be a little bit too aggressive, I think. I mean, it'd be possible, but it'd be a lot better to use the flappy sanding disc. So anyway, should we find some more things to chop? Or just break? Maybe that's good for now. Look at this guy that I found. Let's see how big it is compared to the sword here. It's a pretty big old mushroom there. So, oh yeah, another thing I forgot to mention, that like I've chopped down small trees with this before. When you start chopping harder things, the blade will actually bend off to the side. But if you just chop the other way, then it bends itself back straight. So, you know, it's not ideal, but works, I guess. So here's another trail entrance that's been overgrown. I'm gonna see if I can balance the camera somewhere again. Yeah, so I forgot to mention, I'm gonna link some videos in the description to that review I was talking about, where my sword is on the worst swords list of his. And I'm also gonna link to Coach McGurk swords on the late night TV. It's such a funny video. All right, I'm balanced the camera up against a mushroom on the ground here. Let's see what we can do now. I'm so bad at this. Alright, so this path is now clear enough to walk through. I don't know why the focus on this thing. And I've got plenty more trail to clear if I ever got a camera that would, you know, like on my head or something would be nice. I don't know, tripod. A trail that way, a trail up that way. And yeah, swords are fun. Just be careful, you know, they're dangerous. Never really hurt myself with it, but swinging it around like that would be pretty easy too. So yeah, the reason I swing so hard is just because that sword is so dull. The edge is so bad on it that you really need to swing. That's a good chop. You really need to swing at an angle on the branch and very quick and powerfully to get it to cut. So I basically have to swing almost as hard as I can and like do a nice follow through and get a good angle on it. I mean, the thinner stuff like this, obviously not much trouble. But yeah, anyway, swords are pretty cool. Good times, so I'll see you guys next time.